Fucking go for it.
Yeah, so in first bit of lockdown, when we got locked down in UK, like by March or whatever, we were training at home, doing this, that, and other. No wrong, in a good routine and all that. Highly motivated still anyway, even though we couldn't get to the gym and that. And just woke up one morning and I got pins and needles in my left arm and my left leg. Like, you know, like when you've slept on it funny and it just feels like someone else's arm or something. And I was like, I've slept on it funny. And at this point, we couldn't leave house or out anyway because we were locked down. An hour later, it was still the same. I was like, what is going off? I've had like a stroke or something. I'm only like 32. You know what I mean? I was like, fucking hell, I can't believe it. So, I phoned ambulance and that. They couldn't get through. Nobody were interested because they just weren't a priority and that. I was on the phone all day to them, and then eventually they said, you'll be all right. Well, I couldn't walk around and that. I didn't know what had happened or anything. Eventually, after a few days, I managed to start like holding onto walls in house and that, walking around, and no idea what went off, and sort of like we couldn't go anywhere. So I thought that just look after my son, you know, start walking around. Obviously, I was feeling better, but I could barely walk. I couldn't run or anything like that. I couldn't do a press up because I just couldn't activate left hand side of my body. I just went on for quite a few weeks and I just kept doing bits and bobs, grafting away, eventually being able to do like a press up, and which is like a bit of background of me. It's just insane not being able to do that. Like I were at the point where I could snatch 100, clean 135, and then all of a sudden I couldn't even like walk. You know what I mean? Other than not knowing what we're wrong. So a few weeks went by. Eventually got in to see chiropractors, went in to see them, and they were like, we'll be able to sort you. Didn't sort me at all, don't know what were happening. All the left-hand side of my body, like the muscle had just disappeared. I had no idea what was going off. Eventually, when I managed to get into hospital, went in, they said, I need to have my spine fused because I got like an herniated disc that were caused because of the way I sleep and that, which is ridiculous. But yeah, and after I left it severed and paralyzed me or something. So I ended up having this done. So I had my spine fused back in October. It took that long to do it. So I've only just had it done, really. It's only been like 2 months. And all's good now. I've just lost, obviously got no strength in that side. So I've just been doing stuff to activate all that. So I'm just steadily rebuilding back up. But yeah, it's good with mental side and that. Just staying highly motivated. I always think you just get what you get given, don't you? Like the cards are dealt to you and you just got to get on with it. I can either just be like, I used to be able to do this and now I can't, or just get on with it, you know what I mean? So that's what I've just been doing, and it's exciting, really, like, because every day is like a new PB to me. So, yeah, steadily building with that, I suppose. So, in some ways, it's on, because it's been quiet this year, it's probably been best year for me because I haven't really missed out, you know what I mean? So, yeah.
What vertebrae did they fuse together?
C5 to C6 it was.
Oh, Jesus.
So, yeah, but there were just no like inclination that it was gonna happen, you know. It just I just walk up like that, and they said that because of other things have been compensating for it before, I didn't really know it was happening. You know what I mean? So they said that the muscle around it were just other things were coping. So if you look at like my body now, because it means at physio, my left deltoid is massive, and I've got no lat or back or tricep, so that's just been taking brunt on it for I don't know how long. And it's just weird, isn't it? But it's all right. I'm enjoying it, getting back. Yeah, it's good.
Fucking hell, like right. Fucking waking up and not knowing what's going on, and the next thing you know, like you need your spine fused. Like that's pretty hardcore, mate. Like I think only a northerner would be like, you know, oh, all right, well, I'll just go home and, you know, look after myself, sort of thing.
That's what I know. That's it, mate. Isn't it? But like, yeah, I don't know. You just, I've always sort of just tried to get on with it, you know. I don't know. I hadn't told you a bit about me anyway, but I was in army for 7 years before, and before I went in there, I always were into like my fitness side. I didn't have any confidence, but going in there, they just sort you out mentally, like you just get it drilled into you that you can't quit. You know what I mean? So you just think that's like normal, and obviously, like I just found my passion in there for fitness and not quitting, and I just found like a real fire, you know, and it's good. Like I like to pass it on. I love coaching. Like just as passionate as you. You know, like it's so exciting, isn't it, when somebody's struggling to do something, and then you give them a little pointer or whatever, and then the face lights up when they can start realizing, oh yeah, like yeah, it's working. You know, like that's I just love that so much, and I'm so like happy to be able to do that in the job that we do now. Like I never think, oh, nah, fuck, I've got work tomorrow. You know, I never think that ever. Like, and my girlfriend will tell you, she's always like, you're just at gym all the time helping and this and that and over. And I'm like, I know. That's just slow, right? But isn't it?
Yeah, like it's the lifestyle as well, man. Like, yeah, it's a bit rough sometimes when you're up at like fucking 4:30 in the morning to coach the morning class. But mate, you get there and people have like made the decision to drag their fucking ass out of bed, get themselves to the gym and be like, all right, I'm gonna listen to this fellow in front of the board and I'm gonna give him 100%. You're like, fucking hell, like it just lights you up, mate.
It's exactly. I always think like as well. You don't realize like what an influence you have on people. Like if they're just coming for say an hour to that class and you're there all day, and we've got like 250 members. Us, so say you get half of them coming through, 125 people coming through. They come in for that hour and they see you there, and then they go home. So their like experience is seeing you at gym, and then you don't realize how many people think that you are their best mate. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
And I've got so many friends. Like when it's because we're seeing those people come through all the time. You're like, oh yeah. Whereas their experience is seeing you for that hour, so they just think, you know what I mean? And it's so like touching to understand, especially like what I was going off with, what I've just been going on about, how many people like actually are really good friends with you. You know what I mean? It's good, you know, right life. I love it.
They're mates, not members, right? Like they fucking come in as like a complete stranger. Next thing you know, you're the first coach. Like you're basically the first coach they've ever had, bar their like old rugby coach or old swimming coach or whatever, ballet coach. And then it's just like, all right, yeah, you turn into this like really good mate.
Yeah,
it's fucking mad.
Exactly. Yeah, and then the troubles and and you're like, wow, like, this is crazy.
Now the best. Have you? Do you do the PT too, or have you done any like one-to-one? That's dangerous shit, man. They tell you all sorts of deep dark secrets, mate.
You have a 6-minute PT, you might do 5 minutes work because half the time they just stood telling you about everything, and I'm like, wow, it's yeah, it's good.
Yeah. Next thing you know they're copping off with the milkman. You're like, hey, I can't do this. Like, I know your missus.
Yeah, crazy.
Oh, so is Rotherham the first place you've coached at?
Is it what?
The first place you've coached at?
Yeah. Like born and bred in Rotherham, like
Arctic Monkeys.
Yeah, Arctic Monkeys and all that. Yeah, not far away. Yeah, I know what you're saying. Like with North and that, it's a totally different breed. I mean, like I'm more experienced it when I went into army because everyone's from everywhere. But like, you could just be like, walk past someone and say, "All right," and they'll be like, "Do I know you?" And you're like, "Well, no, just." All right, like, do you know what I mean? And they're like, oh, well, I don't know you. And you're like, well, I mean, like, that's just, whereas I think it's the Southern thing, really. I don't really know. Like, they don't tend to talk. I don't know.
Nah, it's true, mate. And I tell this story quite a lot. Like I went down to Southampton, right, to coach, and I was there for like 3 years. And
Yeah.
the first like, I don't know, 4 months of me being down there, I had to repeat myself 4 times because they didn't have a fucking clue what I was saying. But the next thing you know, you've got someone from Portugal, you got someone from Denmark, you got someone from Finland, and they like understand me first time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's crazy. I always get rips for saying now, and I think that's more saying when instead of saying no, I'm like, oh, now all the time, and then when I say it, everyone goes now back. I'm like, crazy.
Yeah, like UK is a funny one though, isn't it? Because you go 20 minutes down the road and people sound a little bit different. And like I'm from like west side of Manchester, and you go to the east side, and there's going to be like slight differences, and it's just like it's the same fucking city.
No, yeah, like difference in accents is just crazy. Just ran a few miles, and they'll say things. What I don't even know what they're on about. Like, yeah, it's crazy. Yeah,
Yeah, man. So you've moved to a bigger gym now, right? Rotherham ended up shifting units. What's that been like, that transition?
So we had it just went crazy. Like 2014 or 2015, that's when they affiliated to CrossFit Rotherham, and then we had like 40 or 50 members. And then all of a sudden, about 2016, 2017, it was creeping up, like pushing up to 100, over 100. And there were just so many people coming in. And I'm not even lying. Like, we had like the space that we was in was about, there were about 8 platforms. That were it. And there was like classes like 20, and like I was spilling outside. So we ended up moving to this massive gym now. It's like 7,000 square feet. We can have like classes of 20 in one room with comfortable space, and then there's like another room the same size just for open gym. So, and it's just rocketed through. Like you send on your CrossFit, it's just I think if you do it, you just get addicted to it, don't you, straight away?
Yeah,
like
100%.
I'll never do all this, but yeah, transition up to that, we're really good, like massive support, and it's just getting bigger and better all the time, isn't it? It's right.
I think that comes from like to be honest, I don't know anyone else that coaches there, but the whole feel from the gym. Obviously, I've never actually like set foot in it. I left before I fucking managed to get. But like the feel of what you guys like give out is just caring. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like, hey, we're here to care about you and come and have a good time, and it seems to have fucking worked.
Yeah, that's it. Like I know obviously we've all done CrossFit level 1, and some of us like I've done level 2 and stuff like that. I've done all those Olympic weightlifting courses, some gymnastics. We've got people from different backgrounds coaching different things and stuff like that. But we've always said that a lot of people just come to the gym after work. I know I did, but to get rid of a bit of stress or whatever you had from work, aren't you? And just social side, really. See people, a bit of banter, rip each other, have a laugh, and most importantly, like enjoy it. So you don't always necessarily want someone there just going, right, we're going to do this massive warm up, doing this, that, and other, extend, doing it, talking about all weird things that nobody understands, first, second pull, and all that, And they just, a lot of people just want to come and have that little bit of social side. So we're looking at the fact that we have 2 coaches on and doing a class at once. So we tend to let ones that have been coming for a while get on with it a bit, give them odd pointer, but focus on them that aren't been coming as such, and don't do too big a group thing anymore. Do you know what I mean? And like a lot of people just want to come, don't you, get on with it. And there's only so many times you can tell people to not pull early, and then they just want to do it all the time. It's just like I find if you say it to them all the time, it winds them up, doesn't it? You know what I mean? So like I just want to like just let them enjoy it. You know what I mean? Like just let them enjoy it. And just create a right atmosphere and just go off a standard way, really, just slightly, but obviously then you can be real in depth with certain times. There's times to be like that, isn't there? You know, and you can tell the type of person you're dealing with wants it in certain ways, don't they? You know, and a lot of people might just want to come and they're not bothered if they're not going low enough on a wall ball. Do you know what I mean? They'll be thinking, I just want to have a workout. So tell them a few times, can't you? And then if they're not that bothered, it don't matter, does it? Like, you don't want to get on them too much. You can just let them enjoy the scene and get on with it.
Yeah, too. Right? Like, everyone's got different goals, right? Like people are going to come in and granted, if they want to do the fucking open or they want to do whatever, then you'll be like, hey, look, if you don't meet this standard, it's not going to count. Like, you need to do it. They're like, oh, okay, cool. But if people just want to come in, like fucking Daphne or Bruce wants to come in after a corporate job and literally just wants to sweat for 30 minutes, you're like, you know what, mate? I'm going to make you a little bit better, like this much better. Not like 1,000% better. I'm going to make you 1% better, and then fucking just have fun, mate. Work hard.
Yeah, that's it, mate. Definitely like that. Like, I think if you can get, like you are saying there, a little bit, just give them slight pointers now and again, and you can, more importantly, you get them to enjoy it. You get more out of them, a lot more than forever, say, getting on, you're doing this, and then I think you can just knock people down. But that's just comes with experience, doesn't it? And knowing who wants that. And some people just want you to, they'll be like, what am I doing wrong? And you're like, nothing. And they're like, find something, do you know what I mean? And they want you to be like that. And others, you could say, break them, do you know what I mean? So you got to be like, yeah, it's good. It's just got to know that person, aren't you? You know?
That just all comes from learning the members and that. You coach the kids as well, right?
Yeah. Oh, it's my favourite. That you do that, don't you?
Fucking love it, mate. Absolutely love it. So, what age group do you coach?
We do teens, but that's generally, we have quite a few 10 and 11-year-olds crept into that. But then I've also got a kids class, which is like from, if you can walk, to like about 8 and 9, you know. But like going on to coaching kids and teens, it's my favorite. It is my favorite doing that because they just believe everything you say. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Though, like you could say it to an adult, like, right, stop muscling your clean up. You know what I mean? Right, let's extend, pull your head under, and they'll just keep muscling it. Whereas a teen or a kid will come in and they don't know how to muscle. They haven't got any of this, so they just tend to just lift beautifully, like after a few sessions. You know what I mean? It's right good.
Yeah. What made you want to
I love it.
Kids?
What
made you want to start coaching kids?
It was just an idea. I had about 3 years ago or something. We didn't have kids classes, stuff like that. But summer holidays were coming up, and some of the members used to bring their kids down. Do you know what I mean? And they always used to be right good if you did it. So then I just said, right, let's just have a summer holiday camp. You know what I mean? An hour a day, Monday to Friday, and it just got massive. Like, and I'm not gonna lie. At first, I was like, oh, it's gonna be a nightmare. Don't mess about. But the ones that come because they want to be there. Do you know what I mean? So it's not like a school or something like that, because we have school kids coming in and they just mess about. But the actual CrossFit kids and teams that come in, they want to be there, you know. So you can get most out of them when they were coming in, and we just loved it. So we just, straight after that 6-week holiday, just put classes on, and they've just come on from there. Like we've got some good teams and stuff down there now, and it's I always find it's crazy what backgrounds they come from. You have like, there's these kids come from, been doing gymnastics and that, like, since they could walk, do you know what I mean? And there's like 2 of them that are 10-year-olds, and they can do like everything already, and they don't understand that nobody can. So they'll be there like handstand push-ups, handstand walking, muscle ups and all that, and they're just 10-year-old girls, do you know what I mean? And they can do it all already. Like, unreal, isn't it? Like the body awareness that they've got at that early stage. So if you think of that, the me and you have got like a massive influence on the next generation, really, aren't we? Because like imagine when they're like mid-20s, and so they've been doing it since 10, 11, 12, 13, and then somebody comes into CrossFit from the mid-20s, the streets and head on them like that's it's just going to be incredible. You will not be able to come in to CrossFit in like your mid-20s and 30s and actually get to like let's say a sanctional anymore. I don't think so in another 10 or 15 years, because there'll just be all these kids and teens that have been doing it, and you just won't be able to make it up in time. It's exciting.
Yeah, we've also got like you touched on it. We've got like a really unique position, right? Because we've got the ability to like influence these kids. And like, how many times has like an adult said something to you, and you're like, "Oh yeah, that's really like meant something to me," or whatever, and it sticks with you. But then like 3 weeks later, you've fucking forgotten what they said. Yeah, as a kid, like if you say one thing or like one gesture, they will fucking remember it for the rest of their life. Even if it's like your bloody PE teacher, your sports coach, your mum and dad, like it doesn't matter, or a bloody stranger at the chip shop. Like you just remember those things like when you're a kid. And I don't know, it's fascinating. It's like it really like makes you dive back what we do, right? I've had to like look at like my just habits of like how I like sort of just like kind of conduct myself and shit, because I'm like, look, they're probably just going to end up copying me. And obviously I can't go around effing and jeffing everywhere.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they do. Like they definitely do. Like my Instagram's a bit crazy now, and I I have to dial it down sometimes, because like they're all like, "Oh, want to be like that? Let's slam back." And I'm like, no, like, and they're like, "What you do?" I'm like, "Well, yeah, I know." You know what I mean? So it's like having that. There's no wrong with it, you know, but you got to have that respect. So yeah, it's like that. I do just really get fired up, and then I tend to notice that it does pass on to them a lot. But as long as it's just you got respect, you know, like I'm always respectful with everyone. So and they're same, and that's all about in it. But another good one as well is a big one that I've started to realize. I've been doing it like 3 years with teens anyway. Is how much like you actually do like have a possibility of changing their life. Like when they're getting to like 15, 16-year-old, when I would think back to when I was 15, 16-year-old, I'd just be like, I'm parking that, you know what I mean? That's like drinking white lightning and stuff. Yeah, and I had no idea like about fitness, and I'd just be like playing football and rugby and that at school, and that was about it. But like some of these now, they sort of like wanting to look after the end, you know what I mean? So because they've had that touch of health and fitness, and they look at like the adults that are obviously older than them and all that, and they're like, oh, I want to be like them. So you have like good role models, and yeah, I think it's a really good thing, you know, and definitely down to us, like it's right good.
Especially, I think it's really important for like you know, lower socioeconomic areas, you know what I mean? Like post-industrial, like fucking and all that sort of stuff. Like like you said, like you're just gonna knock around on the street, which is great. Like, don't get me wrong, it fucking like makes you grow up early. But you know, there's not necessarily good things that come with that too. And like you said, it provides good role models. And if they're in the gym, right? Like I was in like Southampton, the last gym in the UK I coached at. I had them at 4:30 to no, I didn't. Yeah, I had them at 4:30 to 5:30. And when they'd finished, the what was it? The pairs teams workout used to come in. So I'd get like a load of like adults would come in. It was like Team Tuesday and that. It was usually twos or threes and that used to come in. And then it's like, right, they've just finished their workout. Now they've just seen a load of adults coming to pay their dues too. And it's just like, oh, okay, like they're doing the same thing as us. We're clearly doing something right because look at them. You know what I mean? It provides them with more role models outside of us.
Definitely, mate. Definitely. You can see that as well. Like they get attached to them, and like we have like obviously not at current time, but big Saturdays, and we have like massive team. A bit like you're on about on your Tuesday, massive team things on a Saturday, and it's only time really. Like if it's up to parents, but we let teens, if they're old enough, you know what I mean, to look after us in a bit, like let them join in on that, and they get roped into it with adults, like people they don't know, and they just get like yarn about there a massive like boost their motivation. It's like, yes, they're all doing it together and they feel part of something, you know, and it's good like sitting back and watching them do it. It's right good. Saturday's at the best one, and then obviously you've done all that and you need to have cake and that after. So you've got to do.
Well, it's a bit of balance, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, mate, it's really cool to be able to see. Like, I think the sort of transformation a kid goes through is probably cooler than watching an adult. Only for the fact of like, that's gonna like go forward for the rest of their life. They're gonna take something. You can guarantee they've taken one thing. And like a kid comes in, you're like, oh, like for example, if they don't know how to breathe, right? That's a really like big thing. Like learn how to deal with a high heart rate. And they come in, they're like, oh, they've got asthma. The parents think they've got asthma and all that shit. And I'm like, all right, but potentially they could have asthma or they could have some sort of like breathing difficulties, but like they've never learned how to fucking deal when their heart rate's through the roof. So like, let them just figure it out. You know what I mean? Like, just let me just put them in a workout and not tell them how to pace it. And they're probably going to break down for the next 4 weeks. Every time they come in, they're going to cry. They're going to throw the towel in. And I'm like, that's fine. But the next thing, 5th week comes in and I'm like, all right, I want you to try this with your breathing. Like, okay. And they calm themselves down. They don't need their inhaler. And you're like, well, there you go, mate. You know what I mean? Like you were able to do that. And they've had that epiphany at what? Fucking 11 years old.
That's it. Bit of, like Yara, about bit of tough love, like you gotta let him make that, because I know in my son, I find it hard to listen to. I think I do, and I have to make a mistake, and then I'm like, all right, I'll listen now, and I think most people like that, and especially kids and that, like you're saying, let them have a go, and then they'll come and ask you anyway, and then you can sort them out, and it's just like you're saying, to see them and developing of it years, I suppose, when they're doing it and they look back at stuff that they used to do and what they can do now, and it's crazy. And then not only that, I always get them telling me what they are when they're at school. All their other mates and that can't do what they can do, and they can't believe them, and they all think they're like this superhero and that. You know what I mean? So it's crazy, isn't it? It's right good.
Yeah. What about? I think my favorite part of coaching the kids, like the actual programming wise, is the games, man. I'm just a big kid myself. You know what I mean? Like the fucking games you get to play with them is just immense.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, like I try stuff out on them me for my son. I do, yeah. Like me and Matt, who are training me all the time, like one of the coaches, like we obviously do all programming for gym, and Matt's there, and we test stuff out and stuff like that. And I'm always just using it, testing it on kids, and it's good though. Like I like to sit down and talk to them also about it, about the program and how it works and why you're doing that, and tactics or how to break things down in WODs and stuff like that, and it's difficult to do that with adults because they all just want to beat each other, you know what I mean? But kids and actually just try to listen, it's good. Like right good.
I actually remember this this game. I'd like all the kids that I coached with this game absolutely lapped it up. Like it was called Aussie tennis. So like you set out a bit of cones, right? So it's like a little tennis court, but within the gym, you have a tennis ball, but instead of like, it's like ping pong rules, right? But instead of hitting it over the line into their side, you've got to hit it onto your side first.
Right.
So it's got to bounce in your side of the court, then bounce in theirs. And obviously, like, you're staying low and that, it gets proper competitive. Anyway, like, I had like a 14-year-old, like, bloody international swimmer, like, I was playing against. I had like this 9-year-old, like, bloody county cricket player, mate. I wouldn't let him win. I remember, oh, fuck me. I remember doing it, like, we're like, okay, we had a pretty tough session. It was one of the last ones I coached too. And I was like, all right, we'll have a pretty tough session. We can play some Aussie tennis. Like, how about that? I'll do your deal. They're like, all right, yeah, sound. I'll take that deal, sort of thing. So I ended up ragging the back end out of him, and then took him through this. And the next thing you know, we do a tournament, right? And this fucking 9-year-old batters everyone, and then it's just me and him. And I'm like, oh my god! And it gets to like, we play first to 11 because I've literally got like the next class in like 5 minutes. I'm like, right, we're going to play first to 11. It gets to like bloody 9-11. You know what I mean? I'm like, Jesus, this kid's going to end up beating me here.
Crazy.
But fucking hell, the skill they end up developing, like, even something daft like the same kid, right? He was 9, but used to call it the youth. So he had the kids and the youth.
Yeah.
And obviously youth is just teens, right? Anything from like 12 up to probably 17, but at 17 they're usually in the main classes.
Yeah, we chuck them in adults about then, yeah.
Yeah, like they're pretty competent by then, like, unless they need to learn the movements and they've never done it before. Like, but sticking them in a class with like 12-year-olds is a bit demotivating.
Yeah, that's it.
So I usually
find it, once they get into like 16, like exactly what you're on about now, that once you've just said there, they've learned the stuff and that, and just creep them in eventually. Yeah. But
you stick them in a really early evening class. You know what I mean? Like, it's just after school. Like, it's not really a busy class. It's not really the most, I don't want to use the term, but I will, competitive class. You know what I mean? Like, they're just like a bunch of lad and ladies that just want to get in on their way back home from work. You know what I mean? And they're just like, hey, this is Mary, this is like Jonathan, and this is like Steve the kid. Like, make sure you look after him. If he looks like he's going to cry, tell him to shut the fuck up. But even like, I don't know, even like something daft like hand-eye coordination and things like that, you know, which is obviously important for kids to develop. Like, even that comes into the old CrossFit youth.
Yeah, definitely is. Like, I find that as well. Like that, a bit like that when you're on about when they get to like 16 or whatever, they don't want to be in with 12-year-olds. I find that they end up helping younger ones. They don't have been coming a bit longer. That gives them a bit more confident. Then that's a good thing. There's a couple that come in, and that's what they tend to just help them as well as me, you know. And it's nice to see that they're passing it on and teaching it as I've taught it, I suppose. So it's good.
Isn't it, man? And they also get the opportunity to become a role model, you know, and step in your shoes and become the coach figure or the authoritative figure, if you want to call it that. And they can pass it on back down the chain, which is always real nice.
Yeah, it's good. It is good. Yeah. But yeah, they tend to, I don't know what experience you are getting now, like not just with teens and kids, but with adults as well. But we tend to get people from sports coming to do CrossFit to supplement their sport. So like we have like someone who does netball for England, and then she comes to do CrossFit to get fit for that. A bit like with rugby, like yourself or whatever. Then it's definitely like the way forward in it now. Like that's functional fitness sort of training. Everyone seems to be on board with that.
Thing is, like, if you actually like dive in and be like, all right, what is CrossFit, and you take out the brand, because that's just the name of the brand, right? It's just like strength and conditioning, but with like it's measurable. So we've like slapped labels on it. We call it AMRAPs and EMOMs and shit. But like, it's the first place where they've kind of pulled everything together, right? But it's not like they've created anything new. Like, there's always been a back squat and a fucking burpee and shit like that. But now I think that with the whole measurable side, it has appealed to competitors outside of CrossFit, you know, like the England netball, for example, because she's like, oh, like, we obviously compete in a sport where if you score more bloody baskets, you win. So it's like, all right, well, if my time goes down, I'm getting fitter, then I should be performing better on the court.
Yeah.
And I think that's why like everyone's kind of appealed to it. Plus, it puts you in a fucking grave.
Yeah. Like, going back to when I was in army, I started doing CrossFit like 2013. That were like when I just used to like go on CrossFit.com and see what were on whiteboard and just do that, because I didn't even know gyms existed around. And at the time I was in Cyprus, and I just got addicted to it, and I just started trying to do it in the gym on the barracks there when we were back or whatever. And they all used to go in, what you doing? Do you know what I mean? Like, you can't do that, and stop dropping bar, and do you know what I mean? Like, everyone was totally against it. And then a couple of years went by, and then there was like quite a big group, and I just started doing it. And then they invested in loads of equipment, you know, and then it got quite big in army. And now I know that they use in every barracks now, they've got like a rig and some platforms, you know, and barbells and all that. And it's just to cover that style of what we're on about, the functional fitness. It's always been there, but nobody really knew how to measure it, I suppose. Like you're saying, it's all together now, and it's just good. It's exciting to see it grow. Like, it's right good.
Yeah, it's cool. Like with the whole barracks. Like I worked out of a barracks. I never worked for a barracks. I was the SSC coach for like a swimming club that used to swim at Winchester. So I'd like obviously coach out of their like massive gymnasium, and they had like a huge rig. They had all Bulldog equipment, you know, like assault bikes in there, or the equivalent of the Bulldog, ski ergs, rowers, like fucking swanky new platforms, rings. Like, yeah, granted, it used to hurt my eyes with some of the techers I used to see, but like at the end of the day, like you know what I mean? Like, they're in there and they're working hard, and you've still got those like old school mentality where they go into the old school weight room and just absolutely hammer their biceps for 3.5 hours, which is great. And there's a time and a place for it, and I you know, it's good fun, but it's really cool to see like the accessibility increasing, and I think it would be really, really fucking cool if we end up seeing that in like skill gymnasiums.
See, that's what I was going to go on to a bit ago. Like, I think it is sort of going that way, and we have had schools come into the gym to do them, and I know a few teachers and things that go to the schools round South Yorkshire and all that. They're asking for funding for CrossFit stuff, you know. So that's right what you're saying. Like, I really do think that'll be implemented that in the next few years in schools. So
really hope so.
Yeah,
it's the way forward, mate. Especially like, you know, everything. Like, as this year or last year's shown, like everything's gone online, right? Yeah, granted, there's like mitigating circumstances, but like everything's kind of being a little bit more sedentary. Like, shit food is cheap as piss, and more better food for you is, you know, a little bit more expensive. And then unfortunately that goes hand in hand with the North becoming a little bit fatter because, you know, there's not a lot of money knocking around. So I'd love to see some subsidy to get kids into CrossFit, and like it takes them out of the environment of school too, right? It puts them in a different new environment, and also it can kind of link into you know, when you get to 16, you can do work experience in the gym. You can do work experience, like learn how to like work unsociable hours, learn how to deal with people and communicate in different ways, learn that you need to scrub the toilet at 5 a.m. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
all
bit of
that sort of good
discipline.
stuff. Bit of discipline, exactly.
It also gives them like a bit of like opportunity, you know, like some kids and that don't always get the opportunities to be like. I was thinking like a rowing machine, for example, yeah. And when I was at school and that, like I can remember us getting our rowing machine, just one for the whole school, and it was like in my last year. And we now and again in P we'd go on this rowing machine, and I thought, thinking about it, like like there might be somebody being at my school there who was quite a good rower but didn't know, you know what I mean?
Mm.
So like if you had a few rowers and you did it now and again, then they might fancy doing it, you know, and they might enjoy it, and then go into rowing, you know, and that's just an example. It's the same with anything, isn't it? You know, you've got to provide them opportunities, and you never know what people will find that they enjoy, you know.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's like breaking that stigma in it of like, no, you have to do fucking football or ruggers, or you have to do netball or hockey. You know what I mean? There's now else for you. Like you can't do that because you've not got the money, or you can't do that because, or like you said, there's no accessibility for it. Like CrossFit's a great way of giving them a taste of everything, so they
that's
can be
right.
like,
Yeah,
oh, I love the gymnastics side. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And
yeah.
like, even if they are like a little fella, there's no longer a stigma because you go into the gym and you're just like, oh my god, he's actually crushing it. Like that looks badass.
Yeah.
Rather than like, no, 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 you're a little boy, or no, 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 you're a little girl, you can't do that. You know what I mean? Like breaking down those barriers, man.
That's it. That's what it's all about, and getting them to enjoy it, you know, and then once they build the confidence up, they can go on to other things, and it's good. It's good. Like it's exciting times, and I'm so like privileged to be a part in it a little bit. You know, it's good. I love it.
Mm. How many kids have you got coming up through your system in your gym?
So teen wise, probably 10 to 15. Uh, regularly, like we have classes every day, so in them classes there'll be like, depending what days they come, there might be 6 or 7. But yeah, I'd said it was between 10 to 15, and then in younger kids, uh, not that many, about 5 or 6, I suppose. But yeah, it's all right. What about yourself?
Well, at the moment, I don't really coach any kids. But back in
Yeah,
back in the day, it was I used to focus my time on the youth. So it would be
yeah,
like between, I don't know, it depends on the time. It's between like, 4 to 10, anywhere between there, like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like liability. Some of the kids had to walk from school, so they kind of sack off, go to the shop, you know what I mean? But
yeah,
it was cool. Like just before I ended up passing the baton on, just before I ended up moving on. There was a couple more like 15, 16-year-olds kind of came in, which is always cool because you know it's not going to be long before they start, quote unquote, graduating into the adult classes and then being kind of throwing down that way.
yeah. I mean, like, yeah, it's good, isn't it? And like you said, with role models, going back onto that, what we were on about a bit ago, um, in some ways, it was quite easy for us to start and get a good base because one of, I call him kids, is 20 now, but Taz Nadeem, I don't know if you've heard of him, but
Yeah, yeah.
he went to games in teens category and all that. So when he was like uh, 15, 16, you know, I started doing it when I was 14. And then like just it was just insane, like just putting massive numbers up and just took to it really good. And then like so there was just this massive thing with him, and then it went to games, did all that, and then so everybody, all the kids then that knew him and stuff like that, they all wanted to be like him, you know. So then it was good with him doing that. So yeah, he's still crushing it now, but it's just a different transition at that top level from teens to adults is just
Mm.
insane. Like, but yeah, it's good. It is good.
Yeah, he's definitely a good role model for the next generation. Like, I've seen him come up for a few years now, and he's been absolutely crushing it.
Yeah, yeah. And,
He's an animal, fucking animal.
His mindset's just, it's so like not scared of failing, you know, and then he'll just keep failing until he gets it. And I've never seen how like him. Yeah, it's just it's all in head and that, you know, like if you believe you can do something, you really can. And I know everyone says it all the time, but like he said he was going to games, and like a lot of people laughed at him, you know, like calm down a little bit, and it made it happen, you know, and yeah, it's just really highly determined, and that's I think back to points in my own life, and you just need to find some motivation, don't you? You know, you just need to find that bit of fire, and once you've got that, and you believe you're going to do something, and you just keep grafting away and do it, you actually do it. You know, it's just finding something that motivates you for that one thing or whatever, and you can get it a go, you know. But biggest thing is, I was banging about it to teens. You don't be afraid to fail, you know. And one of the best things I tell them is, if you imagine when you go to do a lift or whatever, and then you miss it, yeah, and then this is just like in my head, this. So you miss this lift, and you get a little box, and it says fail on it, yeah. And what you decide to do with this fail box is up to you. And there's only two types of people in world, in one or other, right? So you get this fail box, right? This certain person will put this box on the red, yeah, and then they'll go and try and do lift again, and they'll get another fail box, and they'll put this other fail box on top of the other fail box, yeah, on top of the red and that, and they'll just let these fails crush them, and they'll just weigh them down, yeah, all right. Whereas the other person, they fail and they think, right, give me that box, and they put it on the floor, yeah, and then they fail again, and then they put it on the floor again. They start building steps with it, yeah. So you get another failing, just building steps, until eventually you're not letting these fails weigh you down. You're seeing it as building in your journey to step your way up to achieving whatever you're trying to achieve, you know. So there's the only two ways you can do it. You can either let that failure crush you, or you can use that failure, can't you, and get to what you're trying to achieve. So it's really important that you don't let these failures crush you, and don't get mixed up with, there's nothing wrong with being disappointed at things, but you just handle it, move on, and then just think, right, I can do this, you know, like, let's get on with it. There's no wrong with failing, and because how good is it going to be when I actually get it, you know? It's easy if I sort of draw it, but if you sort of understand what I'm saying, that's what I try to pass on, and I think about all the time. You can't be afraid of failing, and if you fail something, just think that's a good thing, because when I get it, I couldn't used to do it. You know what I mean?
And now you know where your limit is. You know what I mean? Like, you know where the line is right now, and I think that's really powerful, because you've been able to, like, how many adults do you meet, right, that have got like a psychological block simply because of this or that, or maybe something happened as a kid or whatever, and they've dug themselves a hole and they just will not get out of it. And like now we've got the opportunity to stop that, but we stop, like, nip it in the bud. You can, like, exactly like you've just been saying, but you say that to a kid, and now their whole mindset is now different. Like, I don't know if you've read the book by Carol Dweck, The Growth Mindset, and that, like, they now have a growth mindset of life, like, towards life, and that's just gonna bleed off into everything else. Like, I fucking say it all the time, man. Like, fitness is awesome, but, like, Jesus Christ, like, the main thing is, like, what you develop mentally to then go into life. Because, like, how many people are professional athletes? Not many. How many, like, even most of our work is not physical. Most of our work is communication, mental, people management, like programming, like a little bit of technology, although I hate to admit it. Like, it's not all about what you can actually do physically. So, like, all that's just going to bleed off into everything else, man.
Yeah, like, that determination is down to, it truly is down to being able to handle failing things. And you're saying there, it's not just in fitness, it's in all aspects of life, because I'm telling you now, like there's going to be a lot of disappointment and failures in everyone's life, yeah, and there's not much you can do about it, but one thing you can do about it is handle it, you know, like just think, right, like, yeah, let's just crack on, you know, I can do this, and if you don't, you don't, but like, it don't matter. The biggest thing is just not to let it weigh you down, and I get it, everybody does get down with it at times, and you get frustrated, don't you? And that's what it's all about, but it's just having people around you as well, yeah, it's not just all down to yourself. If you have
100%.
got people around you, they're up, you know, it's good.
That circle around you, and I think that's why CrossFit is so successful, or one of the reasons why it's so successful is the people, man. Like they're all like-minded, you know what I mean? They're all people that just have committed to themselves, never mind anyone else. They've said to themselves that they want to become a better person, whether that's lose weight, get bigger, get stronger, fucking whatever, more skillful, or it's just like, hey, I just want to develop a little bit of mentality, or be better in a social environment, or be a little bit more confident, to then again go somewhere else. Like it's the people around you within the gym, man. Like, how did you develop that? How did you develop that mindset? Do you think it was the army?
A lot, yeah. Like going into army. So when I left school when I was 16, I wanted to go in. I ended up not going in. I did apprenticeship, a plumbing apprenticeship, and I ended up being a plumber for like 7 years, however. And then I just thought, I want to go in army, you know. So I just quit my job straight away, right? And I hadn't even been down to careers office. I just quit my job and I just started training. So sorry, wait a minute, lost you then. Yeah, I just started training for it, and I was just so motivated to do it, and got in there. And when I got in there, I was like, right, I'm passing basic training, and I'm gonna do it, and like just get used to failing and just seeing little progressions at a time, you know. But once you've done a few things and you've achieved them things, it's you can do other stuff, can't you? You know, because you couldn't do stuff before what you can do now. So there's no wrong with having a go and failing, you know. But yeah, like going back to it earlier, that being motivated is so powerful. Like if you go against someone that's motivated and you're not, like regardless of whether you're skillful or stronger or whatever, that person who's motivated has got a massive advantage. I've always believed that. Like, yeah, definitely.
Because whether they succeed now or they fail, like they're just not gonna quit. That's the thing. Like,
yeah.
What is it? I don't know who it's by. Fuck, it's kind of like lost my mind, but it's like oh, that was it. But Conor McGregor says you can't beat the man who never quits.
That's it. Yeah. Well, it's right,
like,
isn't it? Like,
yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Like, what was I gonna say? Oh, what would you think is like the biggest mental block or the biggest mental barrier that you've had to overcome, whether it was, you know, within the CrossFit gym or whether it is something that the army kind of pulled out of you and was like, hey, Liam, like fucking face this cunt, mate, or whether it was like at school or plumbing or what? What do you think has kind of like been your switch?
So quite recently, to be honest, like I always have been either one way or other. So I'm either like so driven to do something, like, or I'm just not. Do you know what I mean? And if I take like being around negative people like kills me. You know what I mean? And whereas really just extinguish me and that, but then being around other people who are really positive or just saying you're doing something good, like just insanely fires me up. You know what I mean? Like just like incredibly. But the other way, so I've just got to be around positive people and all the time. And you like you said earlier, you tend to be like anyway with CrossFit, it just attracts that type of person. But yeah, the biggest mental block that I had was with what happened. One day I could snatch 100 and that clean 135, whatever, like run like a 5-minute mile and all this stuff. And then I just woke up in the morning and I couldn't get out of bed. And then I was like, what's going on? And I couldn't do anything about it. Do you know what I mean? Like normally I'd be like, right, this is what I need to do. But I didn't know what was wrong. Do you know what I mean? So then all of a sudden I couldn't do a press up, and I was like, I've gone. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is me now. Like, and I know there's worse things going off in the world, and there's people go through some terrible things and stuff like that. But it really like just killed me. That like I was like, that's me now. How am I supposed to do my job? Like, I won't be able to do this, that, and other. And even when I did start getting better and went to have my operation and that, all of a sudden I'm like, oh, that'll be me fixed. And then it's not, do you know what I mean? Because I've still got to put that bit of graft into to get it going. So yeah, it has been tough, like, but it's been a tough year for everyone around it, really. But that definitely has been a big mental block. But now I've been pointing in the right direction, and I know how to get better and how to rebuild, and it's just a bit crazy. And I'm back now, you know what I mean? But that was bad for me, like because you're just on top of world, and then all of a sudden you're not, like, and it's good, I suppose. I look back in it and realize that you got to cherish moments as well, aren't you? Because you might not be there all the time, you know. So you got to enjoy yourself, aren't you? Basically.
Fuck yeah, man! It gives you some. It makes you give a little bit more gratitude, and it gives you the opportunity to build your foundation on the rock, not on the sand, right? I'm pretty sure everyone has fucking had that assembly in school. Like, are you going to build your life or build whatever on the rock or the sand? And it gives you that opportunity. And you probably, in hindsight, you probably would never have gone, like, stripped everything back and done the rate basics or given yourself that amount of time off. Like, you never in a million years, if someone had gone, Liam, here's like 100K, I want you to do this, you'd be like, nah, I'm enjoying myself, piss off. Like, I can relate to that, mate. Like, losing the ability to move, especially for people that coach, is huge.
Yeah.
You know, those questions or those thoughts that coming into your head about, am I not going to be able to do this anymore? Like, is that my job done? Never mind, is that my, you know, livelihood, hobby, competition, athlete, working out done? It's like, am I not going to be able to actually coach anymore? And it's scary, man. It's scary.
Exactly. Like, at the time as well, it just come at the time when we weren't allowed to leave the house. Do you know what I mean? So if it hadn't been like for my girlfriend telling me everything was gonna be all right, like just little things like you'll be all right, we'll get it sorted. Look what you could do yesterday, and you couldn't do that before, and you can do it now. And you know what I mean? If it hadn't been for her, and I'd probably just get up. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if I'd. But so however strong-headed and motivated you are, it's so important to just have good friends in it and family, you know. And with myself, my girlfriend, like, sorted me out big style. Like, if she hadn't been there looking after me, and when me just moaning, saying, oh, I can't do a press up, and I can't handstand walk anymore. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's fucking it's easy to get your head caught up in the clouds, you know what I mean? It's like, I don't know, like you're struggling to walk, like, but I can't snatch 100 kilos. I'm like, mate, you need to think about walking first, you know what I mean? Maybe sitting up before you walk.
That's what we're that like touching on that. That's what we're frustrated. That's what was frustrating me, right? Because I'd go to see the physio, yeah, and this was when I was a bit better. I'd be walking around, and I'd be like, yeah. They were like, "What's the matter?" And I was like, "Well, I can't handstand walk anymore. Like, there's something wrong." You know what I mean? Like, I know it sounds crazy, but like, my arm's not working right. So what's going off? And they were like, well, they just want to get you walking around, don't they? Do you know what I mean? They don't understand, like, to me, which is frustrating. And it's no, to me, that's like big, but a lot of people can't even handstand walk. Do you know what I mean? And I'm going in there, like, saying I can't handstand walk, whereas someone might not be able to just walk. You know, like, so yeah, it's just understanding big picture, really, in it, and just like getting on with it and enjoying it. And I'm back doing it now, you know, but it's just, like you say, you just have all the demons in your head and just start eating away at you and that. And yeah, it's just important you have people around you. And I was lucky, like my girlfriend was there just to keep telling me, be all right, you know, like, just man up a bit as well. Like, so yeah.
Yeah, just being that rock, you know what I mean? A little bit of reassurance, like you you definitely need that circle around you to lean on in when times get hard, you know what I mean? And then they're gonna do the same thing with you whenever their demons start reoccurring and popping up again and start saying shit.
Yeah, that's it.
Fucking in it, man.
That's it,
What's the plan going forward, mate? Like, how's the rehab going? Like, how's that gonna like sort of go forward?
Yeah, it's good, mate. I basically just got to do a bit more bodybuilding, to be honest, just isolating them muscles on that side, because I've learned quite a lot as well. Like, basically, it's just trapped a nerve and kills my muscles off in that side, which like nerve provide like blood and oxygen to muscles and all this and other. They're not going there; they just die, and that's what's happened. So at the minute, I'm like all cockeyed, really. Like right hand side is just taking over, left hand side's there's no muscle there, so literally just been doing single arm uh, skull crushes, like little tricep dips and that, add single RDLs, glute bridges, stuff like that. And it's quite exciting because it's like I couldn't do them, and now I'm like, oh, I can do it now with like 5 kilogram, and you can see little progression. So it's like just knowing what to do, you know what I mean, that'll get you better, and that's what's motivating me at the minute. Like I'm definitely getting back there now. Like I know like snatched 70 the other day, like cleans 85, and they're like big numbers, you know, and I'm happy with that, you know, like that's fine. Like it's nowhere near what I used to be able to, but it's been quite good to just strip right back down to basics and relearn it all, you know, and things that my technique's better now than it were before, and that's just because I'm not moving up until it feels good. You know what I mean? Like the strength's are there, but I want it to just feel sharp. You know, and so yeah, it's good. Like I'm in a good frame of mind now, and it's just exciting to get on with it and rebuild, and hopefully get some more competitions. Hopefully, by the time summer comes, we'll be back to doing all that and end up winter and get back to doing my Olympic weightlifting, because I was competing in that before, and I was ranked third in country in my weight category. So
Damn.
it'd be nice to get anywhere near to that again. So yeah, good.
Like we said, it's giving you the opportunity to build the foundation again, and it's only going to make you stronger, man. Like you're only going to come back with less deficiencies, less imbalances, like a better mindset, more knowledge, like probably a little bit stronger because you do more accessory work and shit like that. Like I know fucking from injuries in the past with myself, like now I will do things on the regular, or if something like kind of I feel like my low back's going again, like I go and do more belt squats, I do some reverse hypers, I do some more like good mornings and kind of pay attention to it a bit more and show it a bit more love, rather than just be like, oh, I'm a bit sore, I'll just like, you know, grab my nuts and carry on.
Yeah,
It's
exactly. Like big ones, that knowledge in it, like expanding your knowledge, like learning about how your body works, and it's so clever. Like you're saying, they're doing your accessory stuff, and it works, you know, and it's good to find this stuff out. Like,
minute, man, and now you can pass it on to other people so they don't have to make the mistake, you know.
Yeah, definitely good.
Fucking spot on, mate. I really appreciate your time, bro.
Good, mate. Look after your son, and if you ever come here, if you're ever allowed, I suppose, again, we'll have to go. We'll have a lifting.
They'll kick me out of the country before then, don't you worry.
And stay in touch and that.
You too, man.
Enjoy it.
Make sure you end up getting over here when lockdown's over.
Definitely will do. Definitely.
Give yourself a holiday.
Nice one. Yeah, be good, that.
All right, mate.
Thanks.
Take it easy, brother. Thank you again.
Take it. Bye.